Hey everyone, Daniel here, and today I'm going to be talking about The Zone of Interest. And The Zone of Interest is directed by Jonathan Glazer, who directed Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. And this film stars Sandra Hüller, who is also in Anatomy of a Fall, which also came out in 2023. And if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. It's a good courtroom drama film. And this film is about a family, and the father and husband is a Nazi commandant, and they live right next to the Auschwitz concentration camp. And this movie is basically about their life living next to the concentration camp and how they have this, simple, comfortable life. Meanwhile, all of this terrible stuff is happening right next door to them. I thought the score was used pretty sparingly in this movie, and when it is used, it's very haunting and ominous. The beginning of the movie has a small overture. It's like maybe 5 minutes long, where the screen is just black and you're listening to this score, which I thought was very good. I thought the movie was very period accurate. Everything from the hairstyles to the vehicles to the clothing worn by both the Nazis and the Jews, who have like these raggedy clothes with like literal patches sewn in. The cinematography is very good. There's lots of different lenses used and different camera angles and lots of static shots. I don't think the camera moves at all in this movie. And apparently there were hidden cameras as well for them to get all these different angles in such a short amount of time. The characters will be moving from one room to the next, and the camera angle will change like instantly. The movie shows Nazis from a very objective point of view. Like, it doesn't tell you like these people are bad. Obviously we know that they're bad, but it's just showing you their life, and it leaves it up for you to be the judge. For pretty much the whole movie, you can hear like gunshots and screaming in the background from the concentration camp while this family is just living their peaceful life next door. This movie is very honest in its portrayal of how the Nazis treated the Jews and how they were treated in subhuman in many different ways, and in some ways they weren't even acknowledged. They were just used for their labor. This movie seemed very well researched. Like, I'm not an expert in this time in history, but I thought, with all the period accurate clothing and everything and the architecture, I thought everything looked good for this time period. It shows how children were just indoctrinated into this world. It shows there's a scene of a child playing with gold teeth that were ripped out of the mouth of Jews, and the children are just like oblivious to the atrocities going on right next door to them, while the adults are very much aware, and they're just like, they don't care. They're just, doing what they have to do, and they're being complicit in all the terrible things going on. There's some good foreshadowing, like they'll be talking about this like furnace, how they would burn Jewish people, and then in the next scene, or in a couple scenes later, you'll see like a chimney letting out smoke, and you'll hear people screaming, and it's just like a terrifying scene. Like, it doesn't show you what's happening really. You can just hear the screams, and it's just left up to your imagination. And I feel like because it obfuscates that, it makes it even more scary. I feel like this movie paid a lot of attention to detail in all kinds of different aspects. Like I said, the movie likes to show a lot instead of telling. Like I was saying about the scene with the furnace and the people screaming, it uses sound to communicate a lot of the different events that happen. This movie is very slow and thoughtful from a filmmaking perspective. You feel like you're actually living with these characters. Like I was saying before, it shows the disconnect between the adults who know what's going on and then the children who don't. You know, they're just trying to be kids, you know, playing with toys or whatever, just trying to live their lives and have good childhoods. Like even the dog, you know, dogs are good judges of character, but he thinks that these are good people because, you know, this is his family and these are the only people he knows and they take care of him and respect him. And the dog, you know, loves these people and plays with them. These characters live a life of luxury. And I think it's best exemplified through Sandra Hüller's character, who, you know, she wants to stay at this house by this concentration camp where, you know, the Jews are being tortured and killed, and you know, like her husband is the Nazi commandant and he's, you know, doing all this, you know, all these disgusting acts, and you know, she's just like, I want to go to the spa, or I want to stay here and, you know, raise our children here and, you know, have a good life in this house. Meanwhile, you know, these terrible things are happening, you know, right next to them. This movie has very creative nighttime sequences, and I don't know if they filmed it with an infrared camera or what, but I thought the look of it was really cool. The whole movie's pretty straightforward, and not to spoil anything, but I think the ending is a metaphor for how pointless, you know, the Holocaust was, like how pointless all of the killing was, and how, you know, what a terrible tragedy it was. And it just shows, like, you know, what was it all for? Like, what was the point of it? You know, like, what the cost was greater than, I think, you know, they thought they were doing the right thing when in reality it was terrible and, you know, pointless, and obviously shouldn't have happened, but it did. And, you know, we have to look back at history and try to make the future better than what it was in the past. So those were my thoughts on The Zone of Interest. I think I would give it a 9 out of 10. I highly recommend it if you're a film lover. If you're not into like slower art films, like you like more fast-paced like action movies or comedies, I don't know if this would be for you, but if you are, you know, if you want to watch something that's going to challenge you, something that's slower, I do recommend this movie. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.